I've never seen a contestant this unlucky. He catches loads of fish daily, but his stomach is so bad he can only eat moss. Catching rabbits would be a smarter choice. Everyone needs proper hunting skills. Don't move like a predator. You need to make the rabbit trust you. Pretend to eat grass until it's close enough to shoot. You can quickly grab your bow and take aim. The rabbit won't suspect a thing until the arrow is released. It then realizes its fate, reacting vividly. Just place the prepped rabbit into the pot to stew. No need for seasoning, just eat it plain. Your stomach will improve naturally. If you don't like rabbit, you can try squirrel meat. It's small but very tender, and it doesn't need seasoning. The natural taste is the best part. Doesn't this meat smell better than your chicken leg? If you can't eat meat, try the wild veggies on the rocks. It may not seem like much, but the flavor is incredible. Just check out his happy face. You can tell it's delicious. Which would you choose to eat? On day 17, Mark caught more fish. To celebrate having meat, he gave himself a haircut and suggested Tony learn the skill for future business. I must admit, his skills are impressive. He now needs to build a rack for the fish, given the sheer quantity. He's concerned the rack might collapse under the weight. Since food is scarce in winter, he's stockpiling now. He aims to ensure he has meat to eat daily in the future. Right now, Mark likely has the most food among the contestants. It's unclear if he can maintain this pace. With his storage full, he needs to build another rack outside. Mark is still a bit worried about attracting animals. He plans to set up an alarm on it so he can react immediately. Things are going well, but I miss my son. I even missed his first birthday due to this challenge. I was pretty down then. If I win, I'll make it up to my son with a big gift when I return. The rack's nearly finished. Just need to add more spruce branches and light a fire underneath, and it's good to go. Mark is quite satisfied with it. Now, let's check on the priest. He's getting ready to tattoo himself using bones and berry juice. Wow, isn't he afraid of getting an infection? For Keith, this is just routine. All his tattoos were done this way. No modern tools are used. He's all set to start tattooing. I wonder, won't this lead to an infection? Keith quickly finishes. It's a memento of his self-imposed challenge. He then dives into repairing his fishing net. So far, he's only managed to catch one fish and really needs the net to catch more. Without it, finding food will be even tougher when winter arrives. Spending extra time on this is worth it. His wife taught him how to weave the net. He's starting to miss his family. Here, he can only talk to the camera. Staying here too long can really mess with your mind. After the challenge, he plans to throw a party. After a lot of hard work, Keith finally finishes, but he can't set it up by the shore yet. The water here is too clear. He plans to dye the net to match the water color, so the fish won't notice it. Soaking it in some berry juice makes it look like buckwheat noodles. Will this really work in the water? Anyway, the priest brings the net back to the same shore spot where he last caught fish, confident it will work again. It would be great if he could go further out. Hopefully, there will be fish on it tomorrow. It's day 18 of the challenge. Considering his shelter isn't built yet and it's far from the water source, each trip takes a lot of time. The upside is he doesn't have to deal with the wind. He's now focused on finding food. Since catching the porcupine, he hasn't had a full meal in a long time. Although his body is getting weaker, his mindset is still okay. As long as he can get food later, he still has a chance to complete the challenge. Keith hopes to hunt a big one. That way, he won't have to stress about food in winter. But nothing's shown up yet. Let's check the traps for any surprises. He hasn't hugged a rabbit in a long time. He set up many traps around. Surely he will catch something. Suddenly, Keith seems to see something. He's incredibly excited. Yes, the truth is, he caught a rabbit. It looks quite big. Carly thinks today is enough. She loves rabbits and can't go without them. She quickly cleans it up. ***, one trick is to process it by color separation. This method helps you get a full fur. Rabbits don't have much meat. Carly wasn't a fan of meat before. Since learning to hunt, she ventures into the jungle to find her food, using inedible organs as bait. Carly even performs rescue breaths on the rabbits. It seems like she's reviving them. You have to admire that. Moon, on the other hand, is even luckier, having caught 2 rabbits. Unfortunately, it wasn't filmed. No worries, he showed how to hunt live. Moon praised and observed him closely. Don't walk too stiffly, stay relaxed. Show the rabbit you're not a threat. When it's close enough, slowly raise your bow and aim. The rabbit will react like this. Dazed and bewildered, it drops. Watch for the twitching. Moon should really be an actor. Quickly clean the rabbit. Don't throw away the fur, you can save it for a coat. There's not much fat on a rabbit, just enough to slightly ease the hunger. For Joel, a rabbit should be stewed in a pot. He doesn't even waste the liver. No seasoning, just the pure taste is the essence of wilderness survival. Eating rabbit meat is quite satisfying. But who knows how long this will last. Mark still gathers other food even with plenty of fish. He just collected a pot of moss. It has no smell and tastes even blander. It's mainly to give his stomach some fiber. Eating fish daily isn't sustainable. He must vary his diet to avoid stomach issues and potential disqualification. Mark is quite helpless about this. Today, he can only eat plants to adjust, but hunting must continue. There should be some edible blueberries nearby. However, after walking for half a day, he only found bear tracks, which seemed large. The trail led up the mountain and appeared fresh. The tracks are likely from the past few days, showing the shelter's danger. He must secure his food when he returns. Hopefully, the show's props will help. At least he hasn't run into the bear yet. He might need to think about hunting it. It's day 19, and Mark woke up to find a black bear at the berries, which he didn't expect. He's really afraid the bear will come to the shelter after eating. He's not ready for hunting yet. Mark can't give up on the berries. After much deliberation, he chose to hunt the bear. Despite the show's warnings, he couldn't tolerate the constant threat. Mark swiftly headed to the bear's location. Can he manage to hunt it with just a bow and arrow? Mark has found a good ambush spot. When the bear arrives, he'll use his bow. This seems quite tough for Mark. Let's check on Keith. He's on camera again, asking if people think he'll catch any fish today. If he fails to catch any, he'll wash his hair while doing a headstand. If he succeeds, he'll enjoy a good meal. Food is even scarcer than we thought. Keith feels his body giving out. He woke up dizzy, but keeps pushing through the discomfort, holding on. So, no fish again? Keith will have to wash his hair upside down. For now, he can only eat these plants. Keith is considering giving up and heading home. The lack of food is disheartening. He'll just boil these plants and eat them. He has to shut his eyes and pretend it's meat to avoid gagging. You can guess how tasty it is. Keith hopes everyone can try it too. He calls it the Wilderness Prime Steak, a delicacy money can't buy. If Keith didn't look so pained, I might have believed him. Now, he just wants to lie down and rest. On day 20, Moon felt quite cheerful. She hadn't anticipated dreaming of a family dinner. She ate a lot of food in the dream and still feels a bit full. The only pity is that the dream didn't last long. Now she has to build a door for her shelter. Moon is concerned about the winter and if the shelter will withstand it. Making the door isn't hard, but the flies are really annoying. The worst part is one flew into her ear. You can imagine how difficult that is. She wanted to stick her whole finger in to get it out. Calling a doctor for a fly seems extreme. Quitting the challenge wasn't an option, so she had to use tweezers, which made Moon very anxious. She attempted to use a light to coax it out, but that failed. Then, she tried drowning the fly with water. She could feel the fly stop moving. Finally, she got it out, and she felt much better. It proves that many unexpected things can happen in the wild. Even a tiny fly can cause big trouble. Now she covers her ears with a hat, not wanting to go through that again. Let's check on Carly. She still has the energy to interact with the camera, seeing if anyone can outstare her. Oh, there's wind. I have to close my eyes. After the fun, it's back to work. Carly plans to make a clay pot. This kind of soil is perfect for it. Creating it is simple. She starts by shaping clay balls for later. To the untrained eye, they might look tasty. Now she can roll these into coils. Carly is very pleased with the clay. If it weren't for the challenge, she feels she could keep playing with it. The key to making a clay pot is to keep the clay moist. This way, it can hold its shape when fired. Carly finds this really useful. By stacking these coils, she can make a big bowl. Next, it's time to fire it. It took quite a while, but she finally finished the clay pot. It's a shame she couldn't add patterns. It would have looked even nicer. Still, Carly is quite pleased. On day 21, Keith feels down and considers quitting and going home. There's really nothing to eat here. If he doesn't catch any fish today, he'll have to eat more plants. These days are extremely challenging. He urgently needs food to regain his strength. Winter will make finding food even tougher. If he doesn't stockpile enough food now, he won't finish the challenge. Keith decides to call the producers, hoping they might bring a pizza. Obviously, no one will deliver it. He still wants to keep struggling here. This place is full of traps, but none have worked. It's like trying to win the lottery. After checking all the traps and finding nothing, he finally spots a squirrel just as he's starving and questioning life. Keith believes he still has some skills, but food is scarce. He quickly retrieves the trapped squirrel. The squirrel is tiny, almost bite-sized. With snow starting to fall, time to stockpile food is running out. He needs to find more meat. He cleans and skins the squirrel, but there's not much left. He stews the edible parts in a pot, finding the meat tastier than plants. Tomorrow, he can enjoy some squirrel soup. Things are finally improving. He's unsure when he'll catch fish next. Winter will only add to the difficulty. On day 22, Roland rises early to inspect his fishing nets. The area is eerily silent. He hopes to catch more fish to ease the food pressure in winter. He quickly reaches the nets. From afar, Roland spotted the fish in the net. Keeping this pace, he felt sure he could finish the 100-day challenge. If he could, he would invite Carrie for a vacation. They would love this lifestyle, if not for the hassle of fishing here. He even considered staying a day to get the fish from the net. These fish are huge. The rack might not hold them all. But honestly, if lifting them is tough now, it'll be harder when the surface freezes. Roland planned to eat one and smoke another. Who would have thought too many fish could be an issue? Roland figured that with 20 more catches, he'd likely win this season. Roland was getting more comfortable in the Arctic, but look at Keith. Even though he had squirrel meat yesterday, his condition hadn't improved. In fact, he felt more fatigued and doubted the squirrel meat. Now his stomach hurt badly, as if something was tearing inside. Keith forced himself to drink squirrel soup despite the discomfort. He believed more hot water might help. This wasn't the life he wanted, surviving on wild fruits and plants, which was pushing him to his limit. He thought hot water might ease his stomach pain, but it only made him vomit. Instead, it made him vomit. The squirrel meat was definitely a problem. Looking back, he wished he'd just stayed hungry. Stomach issues in the wild are very dangerous. It could get worse at any moment. Now Keith couldn't even drink water, feeling like he was vomiting stomach acid. After an hour of repeated vomiting, Keith couldn't take it anymore. He called the show's crew for help, asking for a doctor. He never imagined a squirrel would end his journey. This was too hard to accept. His main concern was an infection, which might need hospital care. The crew arrived swiftly to assess Keith. His state was worse than anticipated. Keith was speechless. He just wanted to get to the hospital fast. As he spoke, he began vomiting again. The crew rushed him back immediately. Let's hope Keith recovers soon. Now only 7 contestants remain. Who do you think will complete the 100-day challenge?